How's everybody doing? God bless. Um, Here's today. I'm making this video the final piece of the puzzle, and it's Joel chapter 2, and I will go over that in a minute, but I'm going to go over this. Yes, I'm watching the 15th High Watch. I will say that I've been working on this for quite a while. I've been quiet. People have asked me why I haven't made a video. I have a lot of information and from RJ, DJ, John, Jeff. They give me information. I've been working on this for a while. I've talked to them for a while on this. So I've been going over this because nobody's been talking about it. Just like I put out Chariots of Fire and then people put out Chariots of Fire. I showed it in my video days ago. But I will go over everything, and nobody's talking about this. I've been talking about this for months. Now, right here, I'm watching this weekend. The 22nd, Biden's going to, the same weekend, the next weekend, he's going to Japan, and I will go over that right now. Right here, Biden's going to Japan, South Korea in May. It's the 20th right here. Right here. The Bible says there's no king in thee. No king in thee. Which, yes, Biden is a prince, but he's carrying out the duties of the king. There's no king in thee. Which, that's in Micah chapter 4 and Revelations 17. It says they give her up. Well, this is the article, and I was given this to me. World Health Organization, Bachmann. It says Bachmann global grab of our lifetime. Bachmann has stated that the upcoming Geneva over Biden administration amendments would secede the U.S. sovereignty to WHO, National Health Care Division. She describes the biggest global grab. So, in other words, this is when the vote is. He's going to be out of the country. He's going to be out of the country. This was in May 22nd. So this is when Biden's out of the country. I was given this by people, but the thing about it is he's out of the country at this time. Very interesting. So I'm also watching this weekend. Right here. He's out of here until the 24th. He's leaving here. So he's going to be out of here. Very interesting that they're voting on Sunday. Or whatever. They're voting here. They're ahead of us, so it's probably their Monday morning. So, very interesting. So, we have that. But this is what the Bible says, and I'm going over this. This is also an iPad goat, and I'll show it right here. This is going on right now with the oil in other countries. Somebody in Europe right now, somebody on my Facebook page showed me that 13 gallons of gas was $150. This is going on right now. They're cutting off the oil. Now, this is when Babylon falls. If you know, it has Israel in the United States. This is Micah chapter 4, as I said before. It talks about, in Micah chapter 4, it talks about Israel in the United States. Biden's going to Israel, the United States. Israel and the United States. A whirlwind and it falls. It collapses. And nuclear winter right here. The Antichrist is born, so I'm going to get rid of that. Now in my videos, Mark, why are you talking about Israel? Why are you talking about Hezbollah? Why are you talking about Jordan, Syria, and Hezbollah. Why are you talking about Hezbollah in Syria? Because this is where it's going down, as I just showed you in IPEC Go. This is where it's going down. I've always said this is what it's all about. Why are you talking about Ukraine? Ukraine's where they're going. Ukraine. No, this is where it's going down, and I will show you right now. The last piece of the puzzle. The last piece of the puzzle. Everybody talks about this. Everybody talks about this. And now after I talk about this, other people are going to start talking about it because this is the facts. This is the facts. This is happening the 15th. Okay, we could leave the 15th, no doubt about it. But I'm showing you the rest of it and what you should be watching as I am watching. What's it say? Nobody has ever said this. I've never heard anybody talk about this. Never. It says, this is the last verse of Joel. It says right here. It says, the sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the terrible day of the Lord come. Before. So in other words, there's something that could happen after this. And whoever call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered, and on Mount Zion. So it says before. Okay. I saw Sabine's video. I watch all Sabine's videos. She had a great video on this. I like it. So what happens next? Go to Joel right here. This tells you. It says right here. I will gather many nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will plead with them and the people for their heritage. Heritage, this is their land. This is their land, whom they have scattered on nations. That's us. And parted my land. Parted my land. Says right here, and behold, in those days I shall bring against captivity to Judah and Jerusalem. Right here, Jerusalem. Says right here. It says, why is he mad? Ye render me a recompense, judgment. If ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return and recompense on your own head, because you have taken this from me, and your temples ungodly. He's mad because they have taken his land. They have taken his land. It says right here, they have parted my land. And it says in here who it is. It's Tyre. Says right there. Says who did it. Tyre. Jedidon. And Palestine. Who is that? That is Hezbollah. Right here. Tyre is Syria. Here it is right here. That's why I'm watching this. This is why John's watching this. It says right here. Syrian fighters who martyred this morning attack conducted terrorism in Syria. So, Hezbollah right here with the rockets, as I've been showing, is exactly what it says. Exactly what it says in Joel right here. Right here, as I've been saying, with the rockets right here. So, I showed you the Bible right here. Why is he mad? Because they have parted my land. Right here. They have parted. So after after this happens, the terrible day, why is it terrible? Because he's mad because they have parted his land right here. And it says right here, Jerusalem. It says Tyre. It says Palestine. And it says this right here, which these three right here are Hezbollah. This is what's going on over there now. And I've been watching this when everybody else has been watching over in Ukraine. This is the story. This is the story. This is when this happens. People are saying this, but they do not tell you this. I haven't heard anybody talking about this except for me. And John. John sends me stuff. I agree with him. I've been saying this all along. So, let's go over this. Right here. Iran readies for a grid blackout war with the U.S. They are ready. They are ready. They are ready right here. In Micah chapter 4, as I've stated before, this is when this all goes down. This all goes down with U.S. It talks about, Micah chapter 4 talks about the USA and Israel, just as I showed you in iPad Go. It's talking about the punishment of Israel and the United States. Here you go. Netanyahu deploys Trump strategist while Gantz goes with Obama. Gantz, which is part of the government right now, he's part of the military he's part of the government in Israel right now. He went with Obama's strategist, which what does Obama's strategist want? What is Obama's strategist same as Biden? They're all on the same page. Why isn't Trump in office? Because of this right here with Netanyahu. Right here. It's very interesting because it says 666. It says Netanyahu rival Gantz blast after calling Palestine capital of Jerusalem. So Gantz, you have why is Biden going to Israel? Why is Biden going to Israel? It says right here, presidential visit primarily Palestine area of the city, which was captured by Israel in 1967, would likely be seen as a gesture to support Palestine. It says right here, it says East Jordan and Palestine. He's meeting with the Hezbollah group, Syria and all of them. This is confirmed. Okay, I have another source I could show, but this is just a pre-video. He's meeting with Hezbollah. He's meeting with Palestine. He's meeting with this group. Why? He's going to go there, and they are going to do exactly what it says right here. Says right here. Says, when is he going? He's going the first part of June. So this video is a pre-video if we're still here, because this is what the Bible says, okay? It says right here, Netanyahu was mad at him. Netanyahu blasts him for calling Palestine the capital of Jerusalem. Okay, he was blasted. Okay, he was blasted. But here's the articles right here. And here's the Bible verses. Here's the Bible verses, all of them. What it is, he's going to give half of Jerusalem to Palestine and let it be partly their capital. In other words, a shared capital, okay? A shared capital. Trump would have never went for this, neither would Netanyahu. So they are going to divide Jerusalem. Just as I showed you here. Netanyahu employs Trump strategists while Gantz goes for Obama's, which they are all for Palestine. They are all for Hezbollah. They are all for sharing Jerusalem, as so is Biden, which Biden's going there right here. Iran readies this. They're all ready. It's going to happen, but it won't happen as it says in Joel. Joel right here, they are fulfilling Bible prophecy. It's fulfilling right in front of your hands. This is what's going on right now. They're bringing the nations down to Jehoshaphat right here. And my people, heritage, they will be scattered among the nations and parted my land, God says. Parted my land. Says right there, Jerusalem. Says right here. Says who parted it and why he is mad. Recompense. They parted my land. So, I've showed you everything for a review. Nobody's ever talked about this. Everybody's talking about this right here. Nobody's talking about this right here. Nobody. I haven't heard anybody. Probably now we will, after we get past the 15th, if we're still here, which I hope we're leaving here. I hope we're leaving here, maybe. But he's going in June, the first part of June. So this is the first anybody's ever talked about this. Here's the date. Here's the date. I know people have talked about this, but I have been sitting on this because I was waiting to make this video. So I know people have talked about this and this. No, I don't think they've talked about him being out of the United States. But nobody's talked about this. The end of the story. Joel 2:3. Why God is mad. Judgment. Why? You can say they parted the land over here, but I don't know. Joel 2, as I showed right here, it says the sun will be darkened, and then it shows the next thing that happens. It says why he's mad. It doesn't say, I mean, it's not like he's going to sit around and let them do this. And it specifically says Jerusalem. Specifically says Jerusalem right here. They parted my land. It specifically says Jerusalem. Right here. You'll bring to captivity and Jerusalem. Judah and Jerusalem. Very interesting. They parted my land. And then it says the nations. So, I showed you this. Gantz. This is the thinking of their government right now. They have Arabs in their government right now. The Arabs in Israel have sided with the governing party right now, which is part of him. So I showed you that in my videos. Biden, he's going there. He's going there the 1st of June. This is interesting. As I said, we could be leaving here. This is interesting. Biden's going to be out of the country. So this is just a heads up. I showed you an iPad Goat where the Statue of Liberty, it's showing Israel and the United States. Right there, the star, it appears. The star appears. Shows the Statue of Liberty, and then all of a sudden the star appears. Right there, you can't see the star. Can't see the star, and then the star appears when you shows Israel, then nuclear winter, which Biden's going to Israel, and judgment could happen at this time. So, like I said, these are the dates. I will go over them again. Right here, I know Sabine was talking about these days right here, I believe. Sabine was. So we will see, and then we will see when they go to Israel. So, and like I said, that is the rest of the puzzle, and that is right here. God bless. This will be the end of my video. We'll be live tomorrow, but we'll be live tomorrow. But if John just sent me some more stuff, so if I might add to the end of this, I might not. So we will see. God bless.